The world faces peak gold according to Goldman Sachs, but one geologist who's discovered more than 30 million ounces of gold says he knows where to find America's hidden gold deposits. Featured on the History Channel's How the Earth Was Made, this expert gold finder could be on the verge of a massive gold strike. Even $1 billion gold giant has engaged this small market cap company to use their proprietary technology. For the thrill of gold discovery with a new edge in Nevada, visit futuremoneytrends.com/gold. Greetings and thank you for joining us at futuremoneytrends.com. I have, without a doubt, everybody's favorite guest. I look at all the Google Analytics, I look at all the downloads, and it doesn't matter how many times I have this guest on or what we talk about, this is everybody's favorite guy, including my favorite guy. Now, Andy Hoffman is the marketing director at Miles Franklin. He's a true believer, and you've just never seen research like his when it comes to precious metals and the global economy. This isn't just a gold and silver interview. We're going to talk about the economy at depth. We're going to talk about the inflection point we were seeing in 2016 for both the central banks and the precious metal cartel, this scheme that has been suppressing the metals. But right now we're seeing an overwhelming physical demand. We're going to get into all of that. I know everybody probably wants to hear Andy Hoffman talk about his thoughts on gender-neutral bathrooms, but we're going to go ahead and get straight into gold and silver. Andy, thank you for joining us.
Are there really gender-neutral bathrooms?
It's a big debate, I guess, on social networking sites in the news. But also, before I start, everybody, please, May 20th in Houston, and there will also be a webinar at the same time that you can see live. But May 20th, I will be in Houston. Andy will be in Houston. Andy Schechtman of Miles Franklin, who's been in the bullion industry, my goodness, probably since I was in elementary school. He's going to be in Houston. And we're all going to have an amazing evening about 6 o'clock, 6:30 in local time in Houston. May 20th. If you want more information, please register by emailing ahoffman@milesfranklin.com. That's ahoffman@milesfranklin.com. I want to meet everybody there. Andy's going to be there answering questions. It's just going to be an amazing night full of like-minded individuals discussing the economy. I can't imagine how much everybody's going to learn, including Andy and I, because every time you talk to people, I mean, it's the old Proverbs, iron sharpens iron. So I hope to see everybody there again. Hoffman@Miles Franklin. All right, Andy, let's get right into this. Silver last week had a breakout. What snapped?
Well, let's see. I just wrote this weekend, it'll be published within hours. It's called Silver 2016, The Cartel's Last Stand. And ironically, it's coming, as our friend Bixweir just pointed out, within days of the 5-year anniversary of the Sunday Night Paper Silver Massacre on May 1st, 2011. Which, by the way, was only a few months after the last PSLV silver bullion deal offering by Sprott, which was, in my mind, one of the big catalysts that pushed silver up from $24 to $50 an ounce in early 2011. What is snapped? Well, I think you and I have both known all along that when it comes to the cartel, it's more likely that silver is going to be what does them in. And I'm not saying that we're going to have this right now, but it's unquestionable that right now the tightness in the silver market is getting so powerful that the cartel is being overwhelmed. And, you know, we've been pointing out all year the big difference that we haven't seen in several years, 3 or 4 years to be exact, in the precious metal markets has been the lack of institutional demand. Now, we've seen the central banks continue to buy. Last year, 2015, was the most central banks ever publicly bought, and you know they bought more behind the scenes. And of course, on the retail sector, we've seen physical demand for silver in the retail sector go up every year, a new record in 2014, 13, 14, and 15. But what we're now seeing in the institutional market is that the big boys are joining as well. They know the bull market has started. That's why the mining shares are soaring. That's why the ETFs are seeing huge inflows, and that's why the premiums on the closed-end bullion funds are going up as opposed to down where they were the last 4 years. What happened last week? Well, I don't know. I think it's just as Gata has said all along, the demand is starting to swamp the supply. And that's why the COTs, a lot of people pay attention to the commercials, which is essentially the cartel. has built their biggest short position in history. In history right now, and in gold also, they're nearly at their biggest short position in history. And this is with prices going up, up, up. And sorry to be rambling right now, but I've written several articles this year, the last one everyone should read, called About Those COTs, talking about the fact that people who are so focused on the COTs are not seeing the forest through the trees. They are not realizing that in the past few years, we were in a bear market in precious metals. Yes, it was a cartel orchestrated one, but it was definitely a bear market. And now that we are in a bull market, which we've been in all other currencies for the past 18 months, and now we are in the dollar price, gold and silver, there is nothing the cartel can do to stop the trend. All they can do is slow it. And that's why it's very likely that sometime very soon, this giant demand from silver is going to cause major, major problems for the cartel. And I mean, look what happened last summer. We didn't even have a crisis. And last summer, we had a major silver shortage. So I think something very, very big is coming down the line in the physical precious metal markets. Perhaps it was the Shanghai fix that just started last week that catalyzed all the new buying. Perhaps it was Deutsche Bank's admission that they had manipulated the gold and silver markets for 15 years. Perhaps it was, as I expected it to be, the offering by Eric Sprott's PSLV fund on April 8th when silver was $15.05 per ounce. That has gotten all the money coming into the sector. But either way, the cumulative forces of the physical market are now starting to swamp those of the paper manipulators.
You know, Andy, the case and the catalyst right now for increasing demand, as we're already seeing, really record physical demand, we could talk about it for over an hour. And I look at the supply, and we often talk about how 80% of silver comes from non-silver producing mines, where there's zinc mines or copper mines or even gold mines. And I did a recent documentary a few weeks ago, and in the research we did, we looked at the actual primary silver producers. And I don't think people fully appreciate that not only are the zinc and copper mines reducing production and some of them closing down because of the depression, which will further collapse the supply of silver, but then I looked at Pan American Silver, which everybody goes, that's a silver company. Yeah, but less than 50% of their revenues come from silver. And Hecla Mining, everybody thinks of that as a silver company. That company's like just barely over 40% of their income revenues come from silver. First Majestic, which came out as the most primary silver producer, that was 69%. But, in general, even when we talk about these primary silver producers, for the most part, like a Pan American Silver, they're producing base metals. So when you look at the supply, could we see an actual, and we talked about this last time or maybe 2 times ago, could we actually see a dramatic reduction in supply at the same point in time, let's say later this year or middle of 2017, at the same point in time, physical demand completely just explodes?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone should go back. You should Google. I'm trying to remember the title. It's the All-Star Silver Webinar Panel. Miles Franklin's All-Star Silver Webinar Panel from October 2014. We had David Morgan, Bill Holter, Harvey Organ, Steve St. Angelo, and myself, and we talked about this very thing. And I've been saying for years now that we're going to see a massive drop in precious metal production because the industry has been strangled of capital for so many years. 15 years of prices well below the cost of production, and certainly, more importantly, the cost of industry sustainability. It's not just enough to make money on mines that are in production. It's to have enough money to keep exploring and getting more reserves in a business where you're having rapid depletion. You have to go further, you have to go deeper and into more remote places to find things. And as a result, we've seen a dramatic drop-off in reserves, and we've seen a drop-off in production. In fact, silver production actually declined last year by something like, I think, 8%. Or no, it's 5%, and they're expecting it'll drop another 10% this year. And gold production also peaked. In fact, Barrick Gold, the largest gold miner in the world, is expected, if you could believe this, to have a 25 to 30% drop in production over the next 4 or 5 years. Newmont Mining also, number 2. Anglo Gold drops in production. And it's because they haven't had capital and because it's harder and harder to find things. And in silver's case, of course, it's not just the primary miners, as you said, 2/3 of the silver comes from base metal mining, particularly copper, zinc, and lead. So you're going to see less production there because they are becoming uneconomic. And as soon as this dead cat bounce, which really hasn't been much of a bounce in anything except for oil, which is, by the way, still down 65% from its highs, you're going to see even more mine closures and more drops in production. So I think, when the cartel in their, not just the cartel, the powers that be, in deforming the economy for 15 years, as David Stockman would call it, have oversupplied everything that we don't need, such as copper, lead, and zinc, and undersupplied what we do need, which is gold and silver. So yes, I think the perfect storm of exploding demand, vanishing inventories, which is another part of the equation no one is talking about, plunging production, and of course, exploding money printing.
Andy, let's talk about the cartel. Was this a major blow? I mean, there's so much manipulation in our media and in everything they do. This admission by Deutsche Bank that, yes, we have been manipulating the precious metals, and we're even going to name others in this civil lawsuit. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this is this just like part of the collapse of the cartel? I mean, are they starting to come apart at the seams here? Even like literally, like the cartel itself is turning on itself?
Yes. I mean, and it's funny you use the terms major blow because from my vacation in Cancun 2 weeks ago, I wrote an article called "A Major Blow to the Cartel," but I was referring to the PSLV offering. Because in my mind, that offering, their IPO in October 2010, was the main catalyst of pushing silver price up to $50 an ounce because it exposed just how tight the physical market is. And lo and behold, they did an offering April 8th that silver was $15.05 an ounce. And look at that, on April 21st, it hit $17.60. But you're talking about the Deutsche Bank. That was before the Deutsche Bank announcement. I mean, the whole world now is aware of this, that there's major manipulation. Not that, everyone seems to forget that UBS admitted to manipulating the gold market 2 years ago. But then again, we were in a bear market 2 years ago, so no one cared. But now we're in a bull market, so everyone sees this. You throw in the Shanghai fix in there. And don't forget, we go back to January 28th when we had that fraudulent silver fix. Remember that? The price was $14.40, and they fixed it at $13.85 or $13.70. And only a couple of days later, 5 of the largest miners on the London Exchange resigned their seats and stopped trading there because they knew it was rigged. And then I wrote the next day, I think the article was called "The Biggest News in Gold Market History," because I was saying, look, the miners aren't going to take this BS anymore, so they're going to have less people to fleece. And sure enough, 3 days later after that was when gold had that $60 up day, which is where the cartel has been trying to cap gold since, around $50 per ounce. And silver at 16, by the way, which they've now lost because now it's over $17 an ounce. So again, you've had a confluence of events, including, as you say, the cartel turning on each other. Everyone's turning on each other. Countries are turning on each other. Central banks are turning on each other. People are turning on each other because this is what happens in bad economic times. And in the big scheme of things, what we're talking about, the end game of history's largest, most destructive fiat Ponzi scheme.
Andy, I want to have you back in about 2 weeks. I guess we'll talk more about the economy then. But just for everybody who is listening and wants more, not only can they get a daily blog, but in June 24th, Chicago, they can meet you. May 20th in Houston, they can meet you. And what can they expect when they show up to these events? I know you just did one in Fort Lauderdale and Phoenix. Where's your home base again? Minneapolis, there you go, and Denver as well. So, what can people expect when they arrive to these events? Just so everybody knows, they're free events as well.
Yes, again, we've had 4 of these so far. The one we had on last Thursday in Fort Lauderdale was the biggest one yet because we had a webinar that was with it. So 200 people attended and 500 listened to it. And that one was hosted by Kerry Lutz. The one in Houston will be hosted by you, and we're looking forward to that. Basically, myself and Andy Schechtman, who's our president and co-founder, he's been doing this for 27 years. We answer questions from the audience, and in that case, also on the internet, about the markets, the economy, the gold and silver markets, and of course the retail bullion industry, which most people have not a clue about because it's one of the most opaque businesses out there, but not when Andy Schechtman is talking about it. And of course, you'll be able to add in your commentary, so it'll be a lot of fun. Unlike the other ones, this one will not be webcast So you're going to have to come. But the webcast of the Fort Lauderdale event is now up on YouTube.
Great. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody there. Please email Andy at ahoffman@milesfranklin.com. We're going to have a wonderful night. And Andy, let's definitely touch base in about 2 weeks. We'd love to see if we can get more people to go, because I really want to see as many people as possible. I mean, I get to email these subscribers and chat with them over the phone occasionally, but man, there's nothing better than physically shaking somebody's hand and basically talking about the economy and precious metals with other like-minded individuals. So look forward to seeing you guys there.
Yeah, it's a very empowering event, especially because the winds of change are now on our side. As I was saying beforehand, every event we've had, the price of gold and silver have been higher than the last, and I fully expect that to be the case come May 20th.
Well, let's make a 1 ounce silver bet right now. I think silver is going to be at 18 on May 20th. What do you think?
I'll go 1801, like we're playing Prices Right.
All right. Yeah, you boxed me in now. So, all right. Well, hey, have a wonderful week, Andy, and we'll talk to you very soon. Again, everybody, May 20th, Houston. Look forward to meeting you guys there.
Same here.